co-writer and lead actress Chelsea Javier.
And I'm co-writer and director Paul Sprangers. Smiler Hug is about a young woman who gets dumped on her 30th birthday, and she has a series of kind of whimsical experiences brought about by some homemade self-help cassette tapes given to her by the mysterious Dr. Garcia.
Yes, and we really see her journey of failure and then bouncing back from that and finding herself. So we came up with this idea initially because we heard about the 6 Feet Apart experiment opportunity, which gave first-time feature filmmakers $50K to make their first feature. So we sort of came up with the idea because of that competition. We also wanted to write something that we knew we could shoot for a really low budget, so we started with that in mind.
That included shooting a lot in our apartment, and then from there it was how do we make a story that's interesting, because you don't just want to see people talking in an apartment. So we came up with kind of like the visualizations as a way to get out of the apartment and to have fun set pieces. We also used aspects of our own personal lives and relationships for the story of the protagonist and what she goes through with her breakup and therapy, kind of working through her issues.
We wanted to tell a story that was uplifting and fun because we did shoot this in 2020 during the pandemic, so we wanted to make a feel-good film, I think.
We wanted to make something that was creative and kind of wild and something that we hadn't seen before.
So I absolutely saw myself as the protagonist when we were writing Smiler Hug. We really catered the role to who I was in a lot of ways. For example, I used to be an art teacher, which Trish, the character, is an art teacher, and we used a lot of my actual past art students who played my students. I wanted to give myself an opportunity to play a leading part. Paul helped me write it. We wrote a part that wasn't exactly me, but there's definitely elements of me in the character of Trish.
Luckily, we were able to cast people and friends that we had worked with in a lot of our previous short films, or actors that we knew from writing classes and acting classes.
And for the role of Adrian, my character's ex-boyfriend, I was searching all over social media for a very specific person who was very funny, who could sing. So I found that role on Instagram, but we just lucked out that he ended up being perfect for the part. So we didn't actually hire a casting director for the film because we used the budget in other areas and we thought we could just kind of do it ourselves. However, for Danny Trejo, my old acting teacher, Anthony Gilardi, had directed him on a music video, so luckily he had Danny's manager's email, so he facilitated an introduction and there was a lot of back and forth to get him to join the film. We even rewrote the part a little bit to fit him better, but it was totally worth it and I can't believe it worked out still to this day.
Yeah, we wanted the movie to exist outside of this particular time, and we didn't want the movie to be filled with people wearing masks.
Yeah, that was a huge part of it. And there was just such, I don't want to say pandemic fatigue, but it was in a lot of media at the time and we were like, is this necessary to tell our story? I felt like focusing on the pandemic would kind of take away from it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we really wanted our movie to be timeless and evergreen and kind of exist out of time somewhat. And it's more about the characters and the story and this kind of process that she goes through. It isn't about 2021 or whatever and whatever's the news.
One of the biggest challenges shooting during COVID was shooting in our apartment because we had a crew and cast in our apartment, which isn't huge, and we had to maintain safety, and it was just a lot to have people in here all day, every day. So that was a huge challenge for sure. Also just the COVID protocols, and we had to do a bunch of testing, and then our shoot actually got delayed because we got a false positive for COVID, so it got pushed back 2 weeks, and then we were scrambling to, kind of lock in locations again, and it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was tough. I loved all of it. really love shooting it. I love editing it. I love doing the post-processing, like visual effects, although it was a steep learning curve.
I'd say for sure my favorite role was playing the role of Trish. I did all the other roles to be able to give myself the opportunity. But I will say I also really enjoyed casting the film. I learned a lot and it was just so fun, especially doing the chemistry reads with different actors. I had a great time doing that.
My favorite Danny Trejo film is Heat, and he actually told us stories about working on Heat when he was shooting with us, and it was kind of amazing. And he thought we were too young to have ever seen Heat. I was like, no dude, that's like one of my favorite movies.
I really loved him in Spy Kids. He was like the two kids' uncle. I think his name was Uncle Machete in the film, so. Which is kind of fun. That movie's just so goofy and I loved it so much as a kid, so I'm gonna have to go with that one. Thanks for having us.